Amy Dave, and I cannot start a presentation or a workshop that's called What is Love without playing Get the vibe. Oh my God. So you get the idea. We're here to look at what is love. And yeah, I find it very interesting as a start point in itself. And we ask the question. So in the song, it's like, what is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Is the next thing that goes with it. Okay. And I know that there's a lot of that in our culture, in our society, in religions, in, you know, in families that we come from. There's an association of that thing. So I really want to bust that myth that love and hurt go together. They do not. So I'm going to start just there by saying that. So for those of you who know me and those of you who don't, and if you're watching this after the fact, I would like to say that this is going to be a very experiential workshop. I will be pausing it at certain points so that you can actually sit and have a moment to reflect. So if you're watching it back afterwards, please take a moment to pause and do the reflection that I'm speaking about. And you can send your reply to me if you want to, share it with somebody else, but definitely hold yourself accountable for the reflective exercises. The ones that I'm going to share today, I would really encourage that you take those questions away. They're not questions that are one-time questions, because you change, you grow on a daily basis. So they're things that you can collect and work on, journal on, talk to about with other people. It's really, really important, because for me, love is a thing that we take as a given, but we live in a world where each one of us, all 8 billion of us, have a different experience of love. Therefore, we love differently. But we just use the word very randomly. And for me, love is one of those words that is so overused, so misused. So I guess I'd like to actually, I need to introduce myself, so I'll get excited. So I'm Amy. I'm a transformative psycho-spiritual therapist. I'm a self-love, soul journey intuitive coach, and a domestic abuse specialist therapist. I am one of the facilitators on the glorious Odyssey, the platform, with all of the other most wonderful facilitators that we have. And it's truly an honor, and in itself it is an ode to love, because it is built through and through with love for the people that are on the platform, for the people that we serve. It's a community of love. So it's an honor to be doing this workshop today. So as we do in the beginning, I would just like everybody to breathe and get present, get here. I invite you to close your eyes and be here in this moment with yourself. So just take a moment to close your eyes and just get grounded and connected to yourself. Just focus on your breathing, just the flow of your breath in and out of your body. Allow yourself to connect with that. And to just feel into your body from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. Know that you are here. Know that you are present. Know that this moment is the only moment that actually exists. I just invite you to take in a deep breath. Hold it at the top. And release anything and everything you're holding on to. And one more time, just I invite you to take in a nice deep breath. Allow it to fill your body. Hold it at the top. And on your exhale, release everything that you need to release. Take a moment to connect to your heart space. To connect to love. Open your heart to love. and allow yourself to be in that space as you explore what we are exploring today. And may every step of the journey be loving of yourself. Let's take your focus back to your breath. Back to the room that you are in, and you can open your eyes when you're ready. Thank you. Okay, just checking that nobody else is there. Okay, fabulous. So let's go. Okay, so the first question I have for you, what is love? What is love? And I'm going to ask you, I'm going to pause the recording in a moment because I really want this to be interactive. But for those of you who are watching it after the fact, please take a moment to pause. And this is not I really want this to be one of those, again, where you do it without thinking. In the moment, right here, right now, when I say to you, love, what actually comes to you? If you've got a piece of paper, write it down. Just take a moment to reflect. What comes to you when I say love? I'm going to. Okay, so we've had some lovely shares. And like I said, if you would like to let me know what came up for you when you answered this question, definitely let me know. Okay, so love. By the definition that I use as the premise for love, levels of love. We have eros, which is romantic, passionate love. We have philia, which is intimate, affectionate, authentic friendship kind of love. We've got ludus, which is playful, flirtatious love. We have storge, which is unconditional and familial love. Mania, which is obsessive love. I'm going to hopefully pronounce this right. Philatia, that sounds terrible. Sorry, don't mind. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. Self-love. Pragma, committed, companionate love, and agape, empathic, universal love. Okay. So if we were to split it into levels, because love becomes quite complicated when we think of the different types of love. However, commonly when I'm working with people, the notion always goes to this romantic love, because in our society, that's the thing that's kind of blown up the biggest. But love, in its very essence, is what you are. As I see life and as I experience life, for me, the premise is that we are the eternal, everlasting energy that is a part of the love of this universe, that we were made in the vision of love. We were made as humans and we chose this journey so that we could find our way back to that love. But that love starts with you. So fundamentally for me, the question is always, how can I love somebody in a way that I'm not able to offer myself love? And how then can you receive love if you're not allowing yourself to receive your own love? Because that's where things start to get quite complicated. So I don't think it's as simple, and I don't think that we talk about it enough as societies, as communities. It's like, when was the last time you sat there and you had a discussion about what actually is love? How do you identify love? Because for me, psychologically, I know that on my journey, I really had to heal the concept of love that I had. And with my clients, there's a lot of work on healing the concept of love, because the very concept of love becomes tainted depending on what we've experienced as love, right? Like if I'm a child and my mom is beating me up, for example, but she's also saying to me, I love you. there's a real conflict, because as a child, I'm going to think, hold on a minute, that's what love is. So this is why, for me, it's really unequivocal that we actually take stock, that we actually sit down and go, what is my idea of love? Because it's not just a word. Like, we use the word, we just throw it out there. I love you. What does that mean? What does I love you mean? Because if I go to somebody before, the person that I was before my 19-year journey, and during it, I've changed a lot in terms of how I love. Because before, I loved in a very lacking way. I loved in a frightening way. I loved because I needed my worth to be validated by somebody else. And I thought that if I could love enough, I give away enough of myself, that I would receive the love that would make me somehow feel whole and complete and acceptable as a human being. So is that love? Or is that toxic in the sense that I am putting that expectation on other people, that they are going to give me this love that I couldn't find inside myself? Because that's not what love is. So I'm going to ask you to take the question away that I first gave to you, what is love? And I'm going to ask you to keep pondering it and keep reflecting on it, and what actually comes up for you when you think about that as a concept. Because our human construct of love is quite different to when you connect to your guides, for example. And I know that we've had these conversations before, where that is a very unconditional basis of love. It just is. Whereas we very much have this notion of, I love you if, I love you when. And that's a really, well, I guess the question is that love? So on that basis, where or from whom did you learn about love? What has been your experience of love? Who taught you about love? And what was that initial idea of love that you had? Because that's the thing that you've taken forward. This is what love looks like. So again, I'm just going to pause it for a moment. Okay, so the next part of the question is, what did you learn? And this for me is such an important reflection, and I'd like you to hold what comes up for you during the rest of the workshop. And I'd like you to really, again, keep this in mind as you go about your life, because that for me, like the deepest form of healing for me is like, I consistently have these things and I'm looking at them in situations that I'm in. So what did I learn from this situation? Like, one of my very first, I think, true experiences of love was the day that I met my brother when he was born. He's 6 years younger than me. And the day that I saw him in hospital, I can still remember very clearly. And yet I've repressed a lot of my childhood. And for me, from my experience, the reason why this is very, very important to me is that when I was young, love was very, very, very confusing, because it wasn't out there in an affectionate style. And it contained a lot of hurt, a lot of toxicity, a lot of abusive behaviors. And at the same time, as a child, all you go for is, well, this must be loved. I will do anything to be loved. I will do anything to be loved. So how can I be better? How can I do more so that I'm not going to get hurt by anybody? How can I be everything that people need me to be so that I feel loved? Right? Because our primary thing is to be looked after. So it's like, what can I do to receive what I need to receive? But therein is the confusion. Love hurts. Love hurts. Because as a child, you kind of just take it because there's nothing else that you can do. And that honestly ingrained in me from a very, very young age, that love is painful and love hurts, and that's just how it is. So then in every other scenario, friendships, like in work relationships and situations with partners, and all the way to my own children, I know that I have spent so many years trying to be what they needed me to be, because that was love for me. If I can be what you want me to be, then I will feel love. To the level that I would let people violate me. Because our driver is that, right? We want to know that we're loved and we're lovable. So to explore love is so important, because otherwise we just carry those behaviors on, and they do become generational. Because we just go, we normalize it, right? The way that you are loving right now, loving yourself, loving others, receiving love, allowing love, is a reflection of your experience of love. So to shift that experience of love, it has to shift in here. Welcome, Saba. Oh, that was in the recording. I'm gonna have to get somebody to take that out. So sorry. Okay. No, did I actually start the recording? I don't even know. Okay, I'm confused. Sorry, give me a moment. Yes, I'm gonna have to get someone to take that out. Okay. So the next question, leading on from there, is do you feel loved and do you feel lovable? Do you feel loved? Do you feel lovable? Just for the very being that you are, because there's a difference in what I just spoke about, because there's one side of it which is I am loved for all that I do, and then there's the flip side of it is I am loved for my being. So do you feel that? Do you feel loved for your being? Anyway, so we had some lovely reflection there. And I was just saying that for me, the basis, the very premise of all of this is really about how you love yourself. Because I can't feel loved if I don't love myself. And I can't feel lovable if I'm telling myself that I'm not lovable, that there's things about me that are not okay, that are not acceptable, that I need to hide, that I need to mold myself into something that I'm not. Then I'm telling myself through my actions and feelings about myself that I'm not lovable, because I have to be different to be lovable. And the thing is, I want to take this moment for the people that are here and for the people that watch it afterwards. You are lovable just for who you are, right here, right now, in this moment. You don't need to be anything other than who you are to receive love. It is our conditioning and our beliefs and our story about ourselves which tells us that we need to be something other than we are to hold love for ourselves. And we set these bars, and I will ask you as well to take that away as a reflection. It's like, where do you set the bar? If you have that in your head, is I will love myself when, I'll be lovable when. Where's the when? What is it? So another concept that I work with a lot, and I guess I came across it in the biggest way when I was doing the biggest parts of my healing, but it's so useful when I work with my clients, because for me, life works in two ways. We either are living in this state of fear and everything is happening in this state of fear, or we're living in this state of love and everything is happening from that state of love. So I'm going to share with you the example that I can give you, which is my own. When I lived in a state of fear, I loved from fear. So my love came from a place of, I'm afraid this love is going to be taken away from me if I'm not being what I need to be. Loving from fear. Loving from the space that I'm in now. So I kind of call them containers. You live in a container of love, or you live in a container of fear. And we can flip between both. However, loving from a space of love gives me freedom, because I'm not afraid of somebody taking away their love or not taking away their love, because love is in here. Nobody gives me love. Like, I can't come and give you a chunk of love and go, here, take this love. You can only feel love when you feel it in here. This doesn't make sense, right? I can't come and give you a feeling. It's not possible. And that's, again, where when people are struggling, they're looking outside of themselves to find this thing. If I am with you and I be everything that you want me to be, you will give me the love. But I can't take the love if I don't have it in here. It doesn't make sense, right? So then I'm always scrambling from this place of fear, this place of lack, this place of desperation. Because I'm afraid. I'm afraid to be loved. I'm afraid of loving. I'm afraid that I'm not lovable. So then you hold on to it. And for me, that becomes attachment. I'm attaching myself to something because otherwise I don't feel loved or lovable. And that's the crux of this whole thing, right? What is love is ultimately us wanting to feel loved and lovable. So how then would you, if you fall into that space of fear, how can you move yourself back to love? Because when we are loving from fear, we are holding on for dear life. And that's when love is toxic and it's codependent. And it becomes this attachment that is just not useful, fruitful, positive in any way, shape, or form, because we are loving from this space of fear of losing that love. And to love ourselves is to know that no matter what happens to me, no matter what anybody outside of me is doing or not doing, I am loving me. So I will be okay. Which allows you to love freely and with freedom. So I would love for you, the people that are here now and the people that may be watching afterwards, to really focus in. Do you love from this space of fear? When does it tip into fear? In which relationships, in which situations do you tip into the state of fear of losing that love? And then when are you actually in this state of love and coming from love, where you're completely free and open and being fully expressive and bringing all of you? Right? When I'm in this space of fear, how do I give myself the permission to be me? Because I am living in this space of thinking I won't be loved if I'm being all of me. So then I'm afraid of losing the love. But the love is in you. You can never lose it. It's infinite and it lives inside you, because you wouldn't be able to feel love if it didn't live inside you. So ask yourself, so how I go about life on a daily basis is to watch myself. I am the watcher. And I'm sure you've seen like quotes, and in spiritualism as such, I don't like the word, but I'm going to use it. When we get to that state of I am the watcher, I am the observer of myself. I observe my human from a higher perspective. So I'm watching myself so that I can understand myself, because to me, that's loving. When we're in relationships with other people, we're there. We observe. We kind of keep an eye on what's working for them, how are they responding? But we don't do that for ourselves. So if I'm not watching myself, how can I know how I am? And I know in nearly every workshop I've spoken about this, because this is the foundation of it for me. It's like how we truly learn who we are is by watching. Be the observer. Stand back from yourself. Watch your human. Watch your human self in your relationships, okay? And really see, where do you change? Where do you flip into something else that you might not want to be? So if your preferred state is love, how then can you bring yourself back to love? And sometimes it's a simple reminder. My preferred state is love. So I'm going to take myself back towards love. Okay. So like this could have gone on forever, but this was my starting point. And again, I would love for you to do this as a reflection for yourself. What love is not. Okay, it's not guilt. So many people grow up with this notion of guilt. I know for me, from a religious perspective, there was a lot of guilt, right? Because I'm trying to balance between, well, I've been told that God loves you unconditionally, but at the same time, you're being judged and you're being watched and you're going to get punished. So then again, that forms an idea of love, right? That I can't be what I want to be, and some things are going to be judged, so I have to be careful about who I'm being, because love is not unconditional then. Again, confusing. Again, causing a lot of guilt. Okay. But there are so many situations in where guilt shows up in love, and we stay in unloving situations because of guilt. But for me, guilt is really, really useless if you're not going to action something. If I feel guilty, I need to go and do something. Just sitting in guilt for all of my life and giving my whole life away because I feel guilty is totally useless. Totally useless. Okay, love is not having to change. Love is not abusive. It's not obsessive. It's not love bombing. It's not suffocating. It's not belittling. It's not diminishing. It's not dimming yourself. It's not compromising yourself. Yes, you may compromise when you're in a relationship with someone, whoever that may be, but it's not about having to compromise yourself all of the time. It's not painful. It's not an infatuation. It's not toxic. It's not attachment. It's not, I love you if. Okay. It's not, I don't know which ones I read now. It's not belittling. I don't know. It's not giving yourself away. And for me, this is one of the bigger ones that I witnessed with my work and for myself. It's like, we feel like we have to just give every part of ourselves away. And somehow that's love. But what are you getting for that? When you do any of these things, if you resonate with any of them, ask yourself in this moment, what do you actually get for that? When you diminish yourself, what do you get? Because I know for me, I loved myself a little bit less because I'm diminishing myself now. Can't be me. Okay, love is not a punishment. Love is not a you complete me situation, because nobody can complete you. Nobody. You have to be complete in yourself before you can step into love that is complete. It is not codependent. It is not repressing yourself. Okay, it's not a contraction. It doesn't contract you. It doesn't make you smaller. And it's not limiting. Love is none of those things. And I know that if we sit here and we are honest with ourselves, that all of us would have been in situations where we have both received some of this and given some of this, right? I need you to love me in a certain way because I need to validate myself. Becomes toxic eventually. Because what happens when that's not happening anymore? So ask yourself that question. What is love not to you? What is it not? Because great things come out of looking at, well, it's not this. Love is the energy of this universe. You are the eternal expression of love. You chose this experience so that you could then find your way back home to love. Love does not diminish in any way, shape, or form. Love comes from within you. I cannot give you love. If I am not loving myself, you can give me as much love as you want. I can't receive it because I feel like it's coming from outside of me. And it's not. It's not a thing that I can pick up and give or receive in that way. I can choose to allow myself to feel the love within me that is being reflected to me. And that grows that feeling of love in me. But I can't give or like take it away from anybody. Every single person loves differently. And if we can just get our head around that a little bit, every single person that I meet, even my children, they're going to love differently to how I love. Their life experience has been very different to mine. So how do we then presume that when I say I love you, that we just know without words? You know, like when people say to each other, well, you should know. You should know. How does somebody know how to love you? Do you know how to love yourself? Fair question to ask yourself. Scientifically, love is a chemical reaction and it changes over time. Okay, and love is not a fairy tale. And I guess that's one of the bigger issues that we face, because we're sold this whole happy ever after and like, I love you, and then we sail off into this sunset. But to be in a loving relationship, and when I say loving relationship, I mean with a partner, with your children, with friends, with whoever it may be, to be in a loving relationship is to work on that relationship. Love isn't just this thing where you just go, okay, it's here now and that's it. And you take it as a given, because we change in any given moment. I am different. There are billions of moments. So how is love that linear thing where it's just like, no, it's just like that. So I'm never going to talk about love again. You love me, I love you, that's it. I find those notions very strange now when I think about it like that, because it's one of the most important things. Why would you not have a discussion about it? Because the happy ever after comes when we put in the work, particularly on ourselves. What is love? Okay, this was my reflection on it and the words that I could fit on the page. So again, take it away with you. Take a snapshot of it if you want to. Come back to it, have a look at it, what resonates with you. Because from this list here, my ultimate question to you is, do you give yourself this stuff? Are you open-hearted with yourself? Do you allow yourself to have mental, emotional, spiritual, material freedom? Do you allow yourself to have freedom in who you're being? Do you have trust in yourself? Faith in yourself? Are you allowing yourself to be expansive? Are you allowing yourself to expand into all of who you are? Do you judge yourself? Do you honor yourself? Do you respect yourself? Do you cherish yourself? Is your home in here? Is it stable? Is it safe? Is it secure? Because it starts here. So for me, the question, what is love, is fair enough. But then when you look at this, it's like, are you loving yourself like that? Because we're not going to be able to receive that from anywhere else. And I can tell you from my experience of being in toxic and abusive relationships, coming out of those relationships and going into the next relationship, that's what I kept looking for. Like, if any of this stuff had come up for me, like somebody that really cherished me and really honored me, I wouldn't have been able to take it. I would have just sabotaged the relationship because it wouldn't have made sense to me, because that's not how I treated myself. And that's what happens. So the work and asking yourself that question is really, really important. Okay. So another question, I'm aware of the time now, so I want to go through a few of the questions for you to kind of be able to take away and to be able to journal for yourself, because I want to give some time at the end. Do you allow yourself to receive love, beautiful souls? This is the biggie for me, because everybody's like, yes, I give love, I give love, I give love, I give love, but I don't feel loved and I don't feel lovable. And it's like, do you actually open your heart to receive love? And how do you allow yourself to receive love? Do you question it? Are you like, do you really love me? Or is it because I'm doing this, this, and this? And if I do more of this, maybe you'll love me more. How are you allowing yourself to receive it? Do you allow yourself to receive it in the pureness that it is? Or do you question it? When somebody says, I love you, what happens? Do you allow yourself to really sit with that? Do you allow it to absorb to your core? So a couple more questions for you to reflect on. How do you wish to be loved? Do you ever ask yourself that question? How do I want to be loved? How do I want to be loved? And do you love yourself in that way? Like, really, how do you want to be loved? Because we set the standard. It's not like people just treat us in a certain way. We set the standard by how we are treating ourselves. For me, it's like, I treat myself as I wish other people to treat me, because then I am constantly modeling how I want to be loved, how I want to be treated. And therefore, I will not allow anybody into my life that can't show me that love, that respect, that honor. If I am loving myself way more than you're able to love me, then instantly I know that this is not for me. So ask yourself that question. Take some time. How do I wish to be loved? Do you know? Is it words? Is it things that people do? Like, how do you wish to be loved? A question for you to ponder, reflect on, is how do you actually show love? Do you openly show it? Do you feel scared to show it? I know that at times in my life, I was scared to say I love you because I thought, oh my God, if I say it, then I'm going to look like this and then they might reject me and all of this stuff. So how do you actually show love? Do you show the people that you love? Do you actually show them you love them? Do you say it with words? Do you show them through actions? Do you ever ask people how they want to be loved? For me, as a parent, it's an especially important question for our children. So what is love to you and how do you want to be loved? How do you want me to show you that love? Because it's not just a given, again. Because, and I love this, so I have to show this slide. Assuming makes an ass out of you and me. It's in the word, people. It's in the word. And we do a lot of assuming when it comes to love. So don't assume. Gain the clarity that you need. Are you asking for what you want and need in love? All right. Because if you're not telling people what you want and need, how can you ever expect you're going to get it? Like, this isn't some magician's thing, right? Where we sit there and we're like, you should just know how to love me. But if you don't even know how to love you, why are you expecting somebody else to know how to love you? How does that even happen? All right. And do you know what your partner, children, family, friends, what do they need in love that you share with them? What do they need? Like, I know that I need, and I want people to tell me that they love me. I want them to be able to show it through their actions. I love the words. I love hugs, for example. Hugs for me are such a big declaration of love. I love hugging people. So I share that with people. I like beautiful little things. Small things mean a huge lot to me. Somebody bringing me my favorite coffee. Those are the things that speak love to me. But if I don't tell people, how do they know? Then I just sit there and be like, people don't love me. Right? So don't do that. Do a love check-in as well. So this is another thing. Like, again, we can't just like our relationships and things. It's not like you get into a relationship or you love somebody, whether it's your children or whatever. Like, we're all growing and we're all changing. Take time to check in with the people you love. I am definitely not the same person I was a year ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, 10 years ago. So then I need to kind of keep checking in. How do I need and want to be loved now? Do you feel loved? How would you like me to show you love? Because this makes life a lot easier, right? It takes out the assumption, it takes out the expectation, it takes out the you should just know, it takes out the guesswork. Make life easy for yourself, people. Ask the questions, gain the clarity, then you know where you're at. And I know the reason we don't ask is because we're too afraid. We're too afraid that we may then have to take a decision or take a step and kind of go, no, I don't want to be loved like that. So our fear keeps us stuck in a place and holding the kind of love that we don't want. But life would be so much easier for everybody if we had these conversations, if we could understand how we love, right? Like, I say I love you a lot, and it doesn't come from a place of like not realness. But if I had said that to myself 10 years ago, I would have been like, you're having a laugh. But how I love myself is how I love other people. Freely, openly. I have nothing to hide. I've got nothing that I need to keep away from people or not show. Because what you think of me is not my business. What I think of me, how I love me, that's my business, because that's the center of everything. And how do you communicate love? If you communicate it. And so I'm going to end at that point so that we can have a little discussion, conversation. But essentially, I end where we need to end, which is how you love yourself is how you teach other people to love you. That is the core of it. So if you're not asking yourself any of these questions, how do you even know what you need? So I just want to say thank you to all of the people that are watching and all of the people that are here today. You can find more information about myself and the other practitioners on the Odyssey, the platform. And if you want to book in a session with me, you can do that on the platform. For the people that are watching after the fact, please take the time to stop, write down the questions, reflect. And if you want to share your reflections with me, I would absolutely love that. But thank you very much for being here. I'm going to have a little chat with everybody that's here now. So I'm going to stop the recording.